Hello guys, thank you so much for being here. Gracias chicos por estar aquí. We are going to talk about Introducción al idioma español. Introduction to the Spanish language. So we are going to learn gramática y pronunciación básica, basic grammar and pronunciation. Today we are going to learn to conjugate verbs in Spanish, specifically verbs ending in ar. Then we are going to discuss when to use subject pronouns before verbs. After that, I will mention more agreement of adjective with nouns. Besides, we will learn the placement of adjective and practice pronunciation of consonants. Lastly, we will make some practice. Well, this is the first topic. It says conjugating verbs in Spanish. Remember that infinitive form of the verb is the form that appears in a dictionary and is not a conjugated verb form. All Spanish verbs have infinitive forms ending either in ar, ir. The infinitive form of the verb has two parts. Stem of the word, which is everything before the ending, as you can see in bold letters, the verb viajar, to travel. Then we have the ending itself, which is either ar, or ir. For example, viajar, ar is the ending, and the viaj is the stem of the word or the verb. Okay? So once you have identified the stem of a verb, you conjugate the verb by adding the appropriate ending to the stem for the given subject. Okay, this is really important. Normally, when we conjugate a verb, for example, this verb ayudar, to help, to assist, we identify that it has the AR as an ending, right? Remember that the stem is going to be the same. What is going to change is the ending. So in this case, we are going to conjugate it in this way. Yo ayudo. Tú ayudas. Él ayuda. Ella ayuda. Usted ayuda. Nosotros ayudamos. Vosotros ayudáis. Ellos ayudan. Ellas ayudan. Ustedes ayudan. Okay? So, as I explained before, you can see that the ending O, AS, A, AMOS, AIS, and N, they are the ending for the verb ayudar. The stem actually, as you can see, is this one. As you can see, also is always the same. You never change it. So remember, what you're going to change is this part, right? This one, the end. Okay, so let's continue with the next topic. When to use subject pronouns before verbs. Because the ending of a verb indicates the verb's subject, most often Spanish speakers don't include a subject pronoun before the verb. So as you can see, you can find the subject pronoun, in this case, yo. Yo trabajo mucho. Yo estudio mucho. Yo vivo mucho. That's the way that we can say the sentence. But normally, we don't use the subject pronouns. We just skip it and we just start with the verb. Trabajo mucho. Estudio mucho. Vivo mucho. Then the next one, it says, tú trabajas mucho. In this case, again, you can just skip it or omit it and continue with the verb. And you only have to say, trabajas mucho. Estudias mucho. Vives mucho. The first one, or the first sentence, means I work a lot. I study a lot. I live a lot. Then the second sentence or example is you work a lot. You study a lot. You live a lot. Okay, now we can see an exception. The example says, él, ella, usted trabaja mucho, estudia mucho, vive mucho. Why this is an exception? Well, it's because, as you can see, él, ella, usted have the same conjugation. That is, trabaja, estudia, vive. So it's important for us to know who did the action. He, she, or you in formal way. So just in this case, we have to use the subject pronoun to specify who did the action. Él trabaja mucho. He works a lot. Ella estudia mucho. She studies a lot. Usted vive mucho. You live a lot. Okay? In any case, more is better than less, so I recommend using the subject pronouns as much as you can. Okay, so if you are a beginner and you are just studying to learn the conjugations, it is always better to use more and use all the subject pronouns. Okay, and when you are progressing, you will notice that you don't need to use it always. You can skip it or omit it because you just get it. Okay, but now if you're just studying in the Spanish learning, so you have to use as much as you can the subject pronouns. Okay, so now we can continue. More agreement of adjective with nouns. Adjective ending in dor, the D-O-R, in the masculine singular have four forms, as can be seen with the adjective meaning talkative. As you can see, we have this hablador, that means a talkative man, habladora, a talkative woman, habladores, talkative men, and then habladoras, talkative women, right? So we have the four forms explaining the man and the woman, men in plural form, and women, yeah, in plural form. Any adjective of nationality that ends in a consonant also have four forms, as seen in the adjective meaning French. Okay, you can see français, that means Frenchman, francesa, French woman, franceses, Frenchmen in plural form, francesas, French women. Except for adjective ending in o, door, and ones ending in consonants that express nationality, almost all other adjectives in Spanish have two forms. For example, fenomenal, fenomenales. That means phenomenal. Terrible, terribles. That means horrible. As you can see, in these cases, the adjective only have two forms, the singular and the plural form, okay? So we can continue. Placement of adjectives. Adjectives in Spanish almost always follow the noun modified. For example, las doctoras ideales. So in this case, you can see that ideales, the adjective that means ideal, is after the noun doctoras, women doctors. The whole word or the whole sentence means ideal women doctor. Okay, so always remember that. To modify a noun with two adjectives, put the adjective after the noun and put y, that means and, between them. For example, el pianista famoso y egoísta. As you can see, it's important to mention or to use y in the middle of famoso and egoísta. And that means the famous selfish-man pianist. Of course, in English, you can only use comma, and that is more than enough. But in Spanish, it's not possible. We have to use the E, the and. It's a requirement, right? So don't forget that part, okay? Bueno and malo can go before or after the modified noun. Before masculine nouns, both of these adjectives drop the O or O. For example, el buen hombre. We don't say el bueno hombre. We say el buen hombre, the good man. El mal día, bad day. We don't use el malo día. We say el mal día. We try to drop the O, okay? That's important. Adjective of quantity precede the modified noun. For example, muchos estudiantes. That means many students. Poca agua, a little amount of water. Okay, so always the adjective of quantity are before the noun. Okay, like muchos or poca. So let's continue. Pronunciation of consonants. The double R sound requires that you roll your R, creating a sound that doesn't exist in English. The sound is required when a word has the letter combination double R, for example, carro. When a word starts with the R, for example, Raúl. After the letter L, N, and S, for example, alrededor, Enrique, Israel. Okay, to make the sound, the double R sound, you have to put the tongue on top of the roof. Okay, so you have to do it like this. R, R. Okay, so as you can listen, you have to put the tongue on top of the roof. You have to touch it, right? And you don't have to roll it completely, right? So try to do it. Carro, Raúl, alrededor, Enrique, Israel. There are variations by country, but in many places, both E and double L, or as you say in English, Y and double L, are pronounced similar to the way Y is pronounced in English, okay? So we have the example of yellow, yesterday, English Y. Llave, God, yegua, female horse, payaso, clown. That is the Spanish Y or Y. Then we have llaves, keys, llevar, to take. Spanish doble double L, right? So as you can see, the pronunciation is very similar. But if you want to pronounce correctly the J or double L, J double L, this one and this one, always try to pronounce it like it was a consonant. When you say university, for example, the J, Jave, Jave, for example. So it has to be a consonant noun, a consonant sound, I'm sorry. So try to practice and say llave, yegua, payaso, llaves, llevar. Okay, try to practice. And this is the end of the class. Thank you so much, guys, for paying attention. Nos vemos pronto y muchas gracias por ver mi video.